First of all, thank you very much for being with me.
Well, thank
And
you.
congratulations on the Emmy nominations.
Thank you so much. Thank
That's
you.
very exciting. Well deserved. Well deserved.
Thank you for saying that. It's a bit wild, but yeah, we'll roll with it.
Also, congratulations on a relatively slow and uneventful election news cycle.
Yeah, it's really tough finding news stories these days. We're really, trying to make something happen, and it's challenging. It's challenging. Not a lot to report on.
Do you find is it more challenging for you? I mean, right now we're literally bombarded with news. Is any different for you guys? I mean, there's always news for you guys to tackle, but
There's always news, but this is like it's almost writing itself at this point. I really, some days I'm like, this is just an embarrassment of riches. Yeah, there's a lot to cover. Election season is always really exciting for us. I mean, it's kind of our bread and butter, and when we really click into high gear, we love covering elections, but this one in particular has been quite eventful.
it's hard to you can't write what's happening right now. So I imagine it's got to be just a plentiful for you guys right now.
It's so funny. I have been hearing the media say a lot, like, people are expecting this wild West Wing story. We're not going to get a West Wing scenario where this is going to happen and that's going to happen. And I'm like, I don't know, guys. This is
Have you been paying
maybe not
attention to what's
quite.
happening?
Yeah, maybe not quite so saccharine and heartwarming, but I think Aaron Sorkin might be pulling the strings. Starting to wonder.
I want to touch on your Foxsplains series, which are brilliant.
Oh, thank
Um, I have to say, some of your absurdness isn't that far off of what you're parodying.
you. Mhm.
Do you find it hard sometimes to outfox Fox News?
Yes, yes, we definitely do. Our writers are phenomenal, and they have sacrificed so much of their time to watching an inhumane amount of Fox News. I can't even imagine the mental health bills that are submitted to our accounting department. But it becomes a challenge every single time we do one where we think like, okay, we gotta out satire the satire. We have to somehow heighten this beyond belief, beyond what they're actually saying. And sometimes it does get frighteningly close. And there have been times in the past where we thought we were outfoxing them, and then we wound up hearing an absurd, fake joke conspiracy theory that we came up with later down the road on Newsmax. It
Oh,
actually,
well, that tracks.
yeah, yeah. So I think we just have to keep working harder to try to make the mental gymnastics even more difficult to follow.
What's in your opinion? What's the key to a successful Fox Plains piece?
Great writing. We have an insane writing team that churn these babies out in less than 24 hours. I mean, it probably takes them like an hour and a half to write the script because we try to make it really topical. So great writing, a lot of torturous watching of Fox News, and then I get pretty caffeined up. So I try to cue up my paranoia level a little bit. I drink like a giant one of these of coffee to get jacked up, and a little bit of ivermectin.
Whatever works, whatever takes.
Yeah.
Now you're hosting on a more regular basis. Is there anything about the job that you've eased into that maybe you weren't comfortable with when you first started hosting last year?
Oh my God, all of it. I think I every single time I get the chance to sit at the desk, I start to get a little more and more comfortable. Yeah, it's so much fun. I mean, we're having the best time, and I'm constantly pinching myself that they're even allowing me to sit back there from time to time. I'm waiting for them to pull out the rug from underneath. But it's a huge learning experience because I've been a correspondent at the show for uh, 9.5 years now, uh, and but the hosting is a totally different game. It's
Sure.
you kind of there's no manual. There's no way of like easing your way into it. You just kind of have to throw yourself in and figure it out as you go, which has been really fun and really liberating. And it gets messy sometimes, but every time I walk away, I pick up something new and think, okay, I'm not going to do that again. Maybe next time I'm going to try this. And but we're so well supported by this team. Like the fact that we have had a rotation of hosts, this team at the show led by Jen Flans and all of our writers and producers, they're so incredible that the machine is in place and they really have our backs every time.
Does the job differ for you at all when you're hosting with Jordan or Michael or Ronnie versus when you're doing it solo?
Yeah, a little bit. It's fun. Like I think I am kind of a fan of the duo scenario because it gives us a chance to play with each other, and we also have, there's certainly the voice of the Daily Show, and we kind of know what we do, but we each have different perspectives and different lenses. So there are stories that I can speak to in a different way than Jordan, and there are stories that Ronnie can speak to in a different way than Costa, and so it gives us a chance to cover the stories with a little more nuance than we would be able to with one person sitting at the desk. I come from the improv world. I'm not a stand-up, so I love being thrown into that scenario and figuring it out as we go. Like I love the collaboration of it.
Your I imagine having, I mean, when you came on as a correspondent, I mean, Trevor was new to the job as well.
Yeah.
But has having John back aid you in your hosting
Oh my God.
duties?
Yeah. They say never meet your heroes. I say meet your hero and then immediately get on their payroll. I think I'm going to stick with that advice. I started with Trevor, and but when I auditioned for the show, John was the host at the time, and I watched John all through my 20s and loved The Daily Show, and I loved what he did and what all the correspondents of that time, Colbert and Carell and Sam B and Beth Littleford, like I had watched for years. I was a huge fan. So John and those years, that era was why I desperately wanted to be part of the show. So now to have him come back and really, steer the ship along with Jen and come in on a Monday and watching him not just host the show, but watching the process from the morning meeting, what he comes in with and hearing his perspective and how that gets worked out through rehearsal and then in the rewrite process. It is, I could not imagine a better masterclass.
I imagine there's a bit of a renewed energy when you returned, I would say, huh?
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. I think everyone felt that way. It sort of felt like, oh my God, dad went out for cigarettes, but he did come back. Yeah. It's like Christmas morning, truly.
Has this changed your, I mean, you were acting to begin with. Has this changed your aspirations and you want to go in the direction of like Samantha and John Oliver and Steven do you want to get back into acting or are you just kind of coaster right now and not trying to think ahead?
I think I love all of it. I mean, part of why I love Fox Plain so much is because I get to like be sort of in character and play that woman on the verge, and it gives me a chance to kind of get back to the acting roots. But I'm really loving hosting, and I did not see that trajectory for myself, so it's been kind of a lovely surprise at how much I really am enjoying it. So I'm open. I am having the time of my life right now, and we'll see what's next.
I have to ask you before I let you go. You were in a project, an older project of yours called Fresh Takes.
Oh my God.
To promote Fresh Takes, you appeared on Fox and Friends.
Yes, I did.
Did you
Yes.
have to hide that fact from The Daily Show in order to get the job?
No, but I will tell you this, when I hosted for the first time about a year ago, my first pitch coming in is that we find a way to play that clip and I get ahead of it. Just lead with it. And then show poke holes in my own hypocrisy for showing up. Yeah, that was one of those things where it was another time, but also when they send you out to do press for that, you don't, I wasn't really paying attention to the sheet. I think I didn't have a publicist at the time. And so I just show up at Fox News and I went, oh, this is what we're doing today. Okay. Uh, but yeah, no, I say lean into it.
I watched the interview, and Steve Ducey, I don't think had a clue what the hell he was talking about when he interviewed
Yeah.
interviewed you.
But it didn't stop him from talking.
No, no, not at all. No, he plowed through. It was great.
Did not stop
Did
him
you
from bulldozing.
do you have any what were your political interests prior to this? I mean, obviously you're neck deep in politics now.
Yeah.
But where were you before? What were your interests in politics?
I wouldn't say I was a political junkie before working at the show for sure. I grew up in a very conservative family. My parents are lifelong Republicans. They happen to not be Trump fans, but I did grow up in a pretty Republican family in Louisville, Kentucky. So there was that as an influence growing up. But Louisville itself as a city is pretty liberal, and I think as I got into my 20s and 30s and watching, I got a lot of my news at the time from Jon Stewart. I was one of those people who was like, well, figure out what's going on in the world by watching him. Um, and so, yeah, I think that started to shift my perspective a little
Okay.
bit on the
Yeah.
world. But yeah, now there's really no escaping it. We're pretty knee deep in all of it.
Well, thank you again for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you.
Congratulations again on the Emmy nominations, and good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks so
Take
much.
care. Bye bye
Good
now.
chatting with you. Bye.